Let's lock in. Should Tank go back to training with Calvin Ford after questionable performance against Lamont Roach? Now, he had Barry Hunter in his corner for this fight. And in the buildup, you very rarely saw Calvin Ford, and people were saying he split with Calvin Ford. Calvin Ford clearly wasn't in the training camp every day watching over Tank like he was in the fights leading up to this. And then Tank had this questionable performance. So, of course, people are asking, did not having Calvin Ford in the camp the entire time play a role? Well, here's what Calvin Ford and Barry Hunter had to say about that. And this video appears courtesy of Fight Hype. Subscribe to Fight Hype TV.
Coach Barry, Coach Calvin, you guys collaborated on this fight to get Gervonta ready. You both built world champions from scratch from the beginning, but there was a change in the coaching dynamic. The first 30 fights of Tank's career, Calvin's the lead trainer and everything. Did that have anything? Did any of the coaching dynamics? Because people will wonder that. Did it have anything to do with Tank, not performing the way people were used to?
I'm not gonna let nobody put that in my head. I'm not gonna let nobody put that in his head.
That's right. And you say the first 30, if you go back to the first half of his career, I was there. You know what I mean? So, like he said, and if you look at the fight, we all was speaking the whole time. So, I don't think that was a factor.
Now, you heard Barry Hunter there say we all were speaking, and he doesn't think it was a factor. But Gervonta Tank Davis kind of hinted that it was a factor in his post-fight press conference. We're going to listen to what he said. So originally the question was about the fans and were the fans kind of booing an issue for him? And he kind of says like, no, my corner was, and that is something that needs to get handled. Let's listen to it right here.
So at the end, you talked about how the audience has like a love-hate relationship. Sometimes they love you, sometimes they don't. And obviously they were reacting during the fight. Did that affect your performance or confidence at all?
No, I wasn't really paying attention to the crowd. You know what I mean? I was more so it's something we gotta work on in the corner for sure.
Your Tank.
Now, again, he was asked about if the crowd booing had any impact on him and his performance. And he said, I was more so focused on, and then he stops and then he said, it's something we got to work on in the corner. So again, reading between the lines, the implication is there was something in the corner that needs to be worked on, and that was what was bothering him. And if you listen to what Barry Hunter said, they were all speaking, and maybe that distracted Tank, or that just created an uncomfortable scenario for Tank. But you saw there when he was asked about what bothered him, was it the crowd or whatever, he said he was more so focused, and then he stopped, and then he's like, you know what, this is something we got to work on in the corner. So it looked like he didn't want to say something that may upset some of his trainers, or he didn't want to throw anyone under the bus, or he didn't want to make any additional excuses along with the hair grease. But I don't know. But before the fight even took place, Fight Hub TV, and the last video was from Fight Hub TV. Subscribe to Fight Hub TV. Fight Hub TV caught up with Calvin Ford, Tank's longtime trainer, and asked him about not being in Tank's corner. And here's what he had to say about it.
That little break in between you guys not being, was there like kind of like a family fondness where
No, he came to see me. Dad, slow down on worrying about you, because boom, he knows that I spend time with my amateurs. You know me. Both of y'all know me very well.
Yeah.
Don't I spend time with my amateurs?
Yeah.
All the time. So that's my peace. And he know when I go spend time with my peace, I'm going through things. You know what I'm saying? When he was there, at least I know where he was at. Because it was something that we didn't do. It's something that we normally do. Y'all with me? And it was good for us, to tell you the truth, because when I stepped back in the head biggest game and I haven't been there, it brought back so much memories. When we first started off, and him seeing all this working together, he was happy. And at the end of the day, what it's about, the fight.
little break in between.
That's what Calvin Ford had to say. Some people weren't buying it. Some people were like, man, I don't know what's going on. Here's my take on it. Gervonta Tank Davis, it wasn't like he didn't perform. It wasn't like he didn't make weight. But I do think it had an impact. And I have respect for Barry Hunter, but to me, Barry Hunter's like mid-level. There are elite trainers in this game. There are trainers who compete to be trainer of the year every year. They are trainers where you're like, you respect them and you know that they're going to get a fighter ready. Then there are trainers who I feel like they're decent, but they took a fighter from when a fighter was an amateur, brought the fighter to the pros, got the fighter to a title shot, and sometimes the fighter may even win the title shot. But once the fighter has to compete at the elite level, that coach doesn't have the knowledge, the ability, and the knowledge of just the overall knowledge of boxing to get them over the hump, to get them to be elite. And I feel like Barry Hunter's one of those trainers. Like Barry Hunter is very good working with the youth where he's from, working with the amateurs, getting them pro, getting them through the prospect to contender, maybe even getting them a title. But and you can fact check me on this, but I don't recall Barry Hunter like training someone who was undisputed or someone who unified several times and it's not to knock Barry Hunter, but I just don't see Barry Hunter as like a boxing wizard who takes fighters. And so in saying that, I'll give you some names. You have guys like Virgil Hunter, for example. Virgil worked with Andre Ward. He built Andre Ward into who he is. You got guys like Floyd Mayweather Sr. and Verge, where they built a fighter, but they also work with other fighters. Floyd Mayweather Sr., before he retired, he helped De La Hoya revive his career. He had De La Hoya looking really good. You got guys like Freddie Roach. You got guys like Roberto Garcia. There are a lot of great trainers in the game. Calvin Ford is one of those guys to me where he and Tank rose to the top together. And Calvin Ford may never know another fighter. He may never train another fighter to a title, but no one knows Tank like Calvin Ford. Calvin Ford knows Tank. Calvin Ford helped build Tank. He and Tank. And that's what I feel about a Barry Hunter. I feel like there have been fighters that Barry Hunter's built who Barry Hunter knows this fighter, the ins and outs of this fighter. Like that's their relationship. He's the best trainer for this fighter because he knows the fighter. He has that relationship with the fighter. That's how I feel about Calvin Ford and Gervonta Tank Davis. I don't know if Calvin Ford, if you're another elite boxer in the game and you're looking for a trainer, you go get Calvin Ford. I don't think that. But as far as Gervonta Tank Davis goes, I think Calvin Ford is his trainer. And I think that gets to a point where as a fighter, sometimes fighters look at Rayo Valenzuela. Rayo decided he was going to leave his trainer who helped him get there and everything. Then he fought Gary Russell and got shut out. Sometimes you got to stick with the person who knows you, the trainer who knows you. And it's easy to look at other people and then get caught up in all these philosophies and whatever. But what works best for you? Like I mentioned Floyd Mayweather Sr., but one of his biggest flops was Ricky Hatton. Because I remember he got Ricky Hatton for the Manny Pacquiao fight. He was trying to teach Ricky Hatton how to fight out of the shoulder roll and how to be a slick boxer. And Ricky Hatton was always chaos from the moment the bell rings, in your face, body punches, all types of punches in bunches, just rough, rugged, and he tried to turn him into a pure boxer. And as a result, Ricky Hatton got flattened. Now, again, you have to understand, it's not, there are a lot of great trainers, but who's the best trainer for you? Who knows you the best? Who understands your skill set? And most importantly, what trainer has the ability to take the knowledge and the understanding of what they're asking you to do in a manner to which it translates into your mind exactly the way the coach sees it, like the meeting of the minds. Your trainer is someone you have a meeting of the minds with, right? And when that happens, when it's great like that, you see magic. I think of like Goosen with Corrales when he's putting that mouthpiece in, and he's like, you got to get in on him now, because the connection they had, Diego knew. It's just like, to me, the bond is with Calvin Ford and Gervonta Tank Davis. And Barry Hunter just seemed like an outsider from the beginning. When he's sitting there talking, he's like, yeah, I've been there from the beginning. You've been there from the beginning, but you weren't lead trainer from the beginning. And there's a huge difference. And like I said, again, this isn't knocking Barry, because I've seen Barry do good things with fighters. But like I said, he built them from the ground up. So do I think that he needs to go back with Calvin Ford? I do. But I also think Tank has been someone whose ego has been growing and growing and growing to the point where he got humbled last night. You look at the way he talks about Floyd, then he's Calvin, you're going to be in my corner, but you're going to be, you're not going to be chief second. You're not going to be my head trainer. And it's probably because he got into it with Calvin. If you're a fighter and you're a pupil, your trainer needs to be able to tell you what to do, and you respect it and you do it, even if you don't like your trainer. Floyd Mayweather comes to mind. Man, Floyd used to get into it with his pops. I still remember the legendary scene on 24/7 where Floyd and his dad were arguing back and forth, and they were saying hurtful things to each other. And Floyd and Floyd was like, Roger and Floyd Mayweather Jr., the only Mayweathers that count, and was just saying a lot of stuff. I mean, it was one of the hardest scenes for me to watch, because I really like Floyd Joy Mayweather Sr., the best trainer of all time. Not half-time, part-time, but of all time. You know Floyd Mayweather. You really want to fight even though you came here tonight, but your pocket's looking tight, so it's forcing you to fight. Anyways, I really like Floyd Joy Mayweather Sr., and I didn't like seeing that dynamic unfold on 24/7. But even after that, they got back together and they were training. And you can see when they were training, Floyd Mayweather Jr. listened to what his dad said. This is the one thing, like Floyd's big ego, throw money, talks about himself nonstop. Yes, I'll give you all that. But he listened to what Roger told him. He listened to what his dad told him. And in his last real fight, in the last round, you saw Floyd get emotional, and like he was fighting back tears, and he said to his dad, like, everything you taught me, I'll always remember. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, the respect you have to have for your trainer. Floyd would say it, I'm getting hit too much, I need to go back to my dad. The reason why he would go back to his dad is because he knew his dad was that person where he was going to stay on you. You're going to do it his way. You're going to listen. And you have to respect him enough to do that. Tank, to me, he got his fanboys. I mean, hopefully he still has his fanboys, because like I said, he didn't lose his O, but someone got the third base with him. And you know, for some of his fanboys, that may be too much for them to take, right? But I think he needs to humble himself, man. Like you heard him talking about Floyd. I'm not going to say he's a scumbag, but you know, this and that or whatever. And then Calvin Ford on the sideline, the dude who Calvin Ford, think about it. Calvin Ford been with this dude since he was a kid. Calvin Ford, think about how much Calvin Ford had to front bills and had to do things and how much time he had to invest, all because he believed in this little kid only for this little kid to grow up now and be like, hey, you know what, man, you fall back and sit over here, man. Sometimes it's what you put, the energy you put out is what the universe is going to give you back. So if you're Tank, I think you really got to go back to the drawing board and say, look, Barry, I appreciate you. We gave it a run, but I want to dance with who brung me here. And I got to go back to my original team. And you can keep him in the corner, but there's no question Tank performed better under Calvin Ford. There's no question. And his stuff about, and I like working with the amateurs. It sounds good, but nobody's buying it. I think Tank got to check his ego. And you heard him say, I'm going to be back in the gym on Monday. Are you going to be back in the gym listening to Calvin? Are you going to be back in the gym trying to be that monster that you were built up to be by Calvin? Or are you going to be playing this game? Because that's usually a sign that a fighter's done. When they're talking about retirement and they keep switching trainers, we got Tank doing both. So anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section. Appreciate every comment that you leave. I try to respond to all of them, but if I don't, that doesn't mean I don't see it, and it doesn't mean I don't appreciate it. It is much appreciated. Please hit the like button. It helps circulate the video. It helps this video be recommended to other people to watch, and it helps grow the channel, which the channel needs at this point. And if you want to listen to the content, but you don't have the opportunity to watch YouTube videos, you can listen to the content on the podcast on all major streaming services. I appreciate your support. Thank you for rocking with me. It's Caden. I'm out. Peace.